So it seems I always have something to say, and maybe I shouldn't, because I could live my life and shut up and mind my own business, which I think I am minding my own business, because I could take this outside of YouTube, and I don't. There's a lot of people around me that if you think Christianity is a problem for you, we can skip all the primaries and preliminaries and get right to the point and talk about how dumb you are, how stupid you are. Even though, as Christians, we understand that we're all dumb and stupid until we find a reason not to be so dumb and stupid. Being dumb and stupid is a good thing. And this is the problem I have with everybody. Everybody that's voting Democrat, everybody that is about the race, and always think that something attacks or insults their race or their culture. My problem with all this is that we all are under the impression, we are all under the impression that somebody is judging us for something that we know that we are wrong about. Kind of like the gay dude who was trespassing on my job, and security was called, and he just looked like a regular guy to me, sitting there, getting ready to unpack where he's not authorized to do so. And so before he made himself at home, security went over there and approached him, and we told him, hey man, we're closed. You can't do this here. Are you a guest? And the first thing out of his mouth was, is this because I'm gay? And me and one of the security officers just looked at each other. Did you know this guy was gay? I didn't know he was gay. Oh, you're gay. And then as he began to talk to us and kind of argue with us a little bit, and he got up out of the chair and his hips were all over the place, then we realized, oh yeah, he's gay. Okay, but sitting there, we didn't know he was gay. He's wearing blue jeans and in a countrified plaid top. We don't know how we supposed with facial hair. There's nothing about you that tells that you sleep with men. We thought you was about just as alpha and just as, straight as us. Until you said it. And there's two things. This is good rambling. There's two things. We can admit who we are and accept who we are and what that has always meant to our society. See, nobody has to accept you but people like yourself. I could be of the same race of people. Nobody has to accept this black person except people like himself. Nobody has to accept this black person as people like himself. Nobody has to respect a black conservative except for black conservatives, because they're of the same flock. Nobody has to accept a thug except people that are thug material like himself. Nobody has to respect Christians. And when I say respect, I'm not talking about common, hello, sir, ma'am, whatever, giving you your space on the bus, giving you your space in traffic. Don't tailgate, don't ride my bumper. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just that right there. Just simple respect of everyday people. Like, if you bump me, say excuse me. If you see me coming, you decide you're either going to go first or I'm going to go first. Okay? Like one not too long ago, I was getting on a bus and I was there first, and I'm standing there waiting on the bus, and this dude ignorantly just jumped in front of me like, dude, the bus is empty. Why are you jipping? It's not like, like the pandemic. Oh, we can only take 15 of you or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, there's no hurry to get on the bus. But this dude, his mind was somewhere. And he just jumped in front of me. And then, I try not to take things personal. So a couple days later, the same dude, he saw me coming and he let me go first. And I think he kind of felt bad somewhere later and realized how dumb he was for but he was either on something or his mind was somewhere. He felt he needed to just jump in front of me. And then he kept looking behind him to see if I was going to take offense to it. Well, I'm going to take offense to it. But either way, I'm getting a seat on the bus. Okay? And either way, the bus ain't crowded. And either way, this ain't luxury. You ain't the classic taxi. You ain't Uber. You ain't, what I'm saying? You ain't a limousine. Okay? If I have to stand up, on the bus, there will be more days when I have to stand up. If I don't get a good seat, there'll be hundreds of days when I don't get a good seat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, let that bother me, because it's all public. But common courtesy and respect is what we are supposed to be here in America. Today, one of the things that kills me as a black man is that if anybody should have a problem with black people, it should be white people. Now we live in a country today where black people don't really have to worry about white people anymore. We got to worry about these migrants coming over here. We got to worry about Indian people. And I'm talking about legal people as well. Coming over here treating you like, you a slave. Treating you like, like you're a problem when you're just doing a job. I mean, there's 100 different types of men a woman can get on an elevator with. If you don't think that you can get on the elevator with the security guard, the little midget one at that, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't leave the house. Okay? If you think you're afraid to get on the elevator with a little 5-foot security guard, okay, that's just trying to do his job and go home, you shouldn't be out of the house. You should stay in the house like the cute little puppy. You shouldn't never leave the house. But there's people that come around that travel, and one of the things about, and I don't know where to put this, but I'm just going to say it. There are people that, racism, and this, you can add this to the last video I did if you want to. But racism comes from an image. In other words, if a person is grown up around no white people, he's bound to act up around white people before he gets along with white people. Because he grew up around no white people, which for black people, that's almost impossible. For white people, it is impossible. It's very possible, especially here in this state, for people to grow up in a neighborhood and they never got outside their neighborhood. And when they did get outside their neighborhood, they went to a place where when they did see black people, they only saw the rich black people. When they did see black people, they saw black people way over there. Because they didn't leave the neighborhood unless they had the money to leave the neighborhood and go somewhere. You know, and so you thought that because you went to the most wealthiest place in Florida, you know, and you didn't see any black people in that expensive hotel. You always see them on the other side of the tracks. You looking over there at them like, look at these dumb black people, okay? And then one of them shows up at your hotel. And I've had people look at me the wrong way. I've had people say things to me, and it's usually to test me to see what I'm made of, because obviously where they come from, they don't get to spend a second around somebody like me. And because I'm there and I'm dressed like that, they want to, you know. I also had trouble where I can be a security guard for anything but, you know, and this is where we get wrong, because this white guy one time came to my job and he wasn't allowed to drink his own beer in the lobby. So I was sent out to go tell him. This is funny. I was sent out to go tell him that he can't drink in the lobby. And he immediately said, "Who are you?" And I'm thinking, you looking right at my badge. Okay? We don't wear t-shirts with badge drawings on them. We wear actual cast iron badges. We actually wear metal badges that are very, very expensive. Okay, some so expensive that some of us can't afford them. You know, they have to. The hotel got to go put it in their budget plan to get us badges. That's how expensive these badges are. Okay, so there's a bunch of us who walk around with no badges, but because of the time that I got hired, I have a badge. But anyway, this guy looking right at my badge let me know that, you know, he don't have to listen to me. He said, "Who are you?" I says, I told him my officer name and my badge number. And I said, "Sir, you cannot open up all that stuff in our lobby because that's not our product. You need to take that to your room, or you need to hide that somewhere until you decide to go to your room. That's fine. But you cannot drink that in the lobby. You need to put that stuff away." And he got smart with me and all like that. He says, "I want to see your manager." I says, "Brother." I said, "Sir." I didn't say brother because he's a white dude. I said, "Sir, it is midnight. I am the manager. There are no managers here this time of night. I am the closest thing to a manager you're going to get." So he says, "Well, unless I see a man," I said, "Dude, I can call the police. You can manage that, okay?" He said, "Well, you can call the police if you want to. I want to see a manager." So I went up to the desk and got my Indian brother. I said, "All right." He says, "You're the manager?" He says, yeah. And the Indian guy was scared to death. He acted like he was scared of the guy. The guy ain't doing nothing, but just he don't want to take his beer upstairs. Okay. It was whiskey and all that kind of stuff. And he says, "Oh, and he explained to him, "Could you please take your stuff upstairs? Because you can't open it down." He said, "You're the manager?" He says, "Yes, I am the front desk manager, but as far as the manager, you won't get to see him until the morning. If you want to file some complaints or something, that's fine, but you got to take your stuff to your room. You can't open that up here in our lobby, or we'll have to call the police. We don't want to do that, you know. But I run into that, you know. And I run into people who, you know, and I judge this guy. I went back to the office. This is a big mistake. This is a big mistake we make. I ran back to the office and I told one of my black officers, I says, this little white guy out here, sitting there, he think that because I'm black, he ain't gotta respect me or whatever. But it was his Indian wife. It was his Indian wife or girlfriend or whichever she was that calmed him down and said, look, let's just take the stuff upstairs. We can take the stuff upstairs and come back down. What's so hard about it, you know? She talked some sense in it. She apologized for him and his behavior and everything twice. She apologized to our front desk manager, and when she saw me coming back down the hall, she said, hey, we're sorry, we're going upstairs. We're so sorry. We didn't mean to give you any trouble, blah, 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 blah. And she's a keeper. It's funny how nice women are attracted to a-holes. I never understood that. Like, nice women are always attracted to a-holes. There's something about an a-hole that until you become an a-hole to her, she finds you attractive as long as you're not an a-hole to her. Whereas the culture I come from, an a-hole is an a-hole on all sides. You don't get to stop being an a-hole because you want some pussy. Okay? You don't get to disrespect everybody else but get to respect the pussy. You know what I'm saying? And eventually all these women who think that these guys, that they're controlling these guys and showing these guys how to behave themselves, they're making them a better person. We hear that in the love songs, like, oh, you make me want to behave. You make me want to be so good. You make me want to be holy. Oh, baby, baby, baby. You make me want to cry. You make me want to, you know, what's that one song? You make me want to wear makeup and put on a dress. You just humble me, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby, baby, baby. And then next thing you know, what happened? They're getting a divorce. What happened? She going and calling the police because he done slapped her. An a-hole is an a-hole, ma'am. If he's not a moralistic person in public, he's eventually going to get around to you. And you're not going to love him either. I'm the kind of person that I look at women when I go out and I see a pretty lady that I think she's stunning and she look like somebody I might want to talk to. And then I look at what kind of guys she lets herself be turned on to. Because I'm going to get picked last anyway. I'm going to get picked for the guys that you don't pick. I'm going to get picked last anyway. You know, I mean, all the guys have to be really short and ugly for you to pick me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to put myself down. I'm just saying that's the way it is. Like, women don't pick me unless, first of all, they look up to me for my faith in God, number one. And number two, they already know me before they have to get to know me. They already know me from somewhere else, and they know I'm different. And they're looking for me to let that difference shine in public, okay? But other than that, women don't pick me first. So I have plenty of time to watch women like a hawk. And I watch who they turned on by. And when a woman is turned on by a guy that all the men hates, all the men don't get along with, guess what? I'm not attracted to her. You wonder why I say hi and bye and keep moving? Because I will not, you will not, And I'm not talking about this as her boyfriend or her husband. I'm talking about when he comes around, her face lights up. When he comes around, she's She treats him like he's somebody special, but the dude's an a-hole. He don't get along with nobody but you. That's not a good person when the only time you only get along with women because you got your mind on one thing. But everybody else hates you. That, my friend, is an a-hole. Okay, and I know plenty of guys that are a-holes. Okay? There's a better word. The Bible calls them scoundrels or men of Belial. Okay? Scoundrels. There's plenty of scoundrels out there. There's plenty of arrogant, prideful, chasing the wind type of guys out there. And what I can't stand is a guy who thinks that he's got to dog a man out in order to impress a woman. And a woman is stupid enough and almost cuss. Be enough to let him impress her with that crap. So all of a sudden you got a best friend, but you throw your friend under the bus to impress a lady. What are you going to do tomorrow when you didn't get no coochie off the lady? You didn't get to take the girl home. Okay? You find out she going to put you on friend list. You ain't get none. Oh, now you want to come back and be my friend. No, brother, we're straight. We're good. We're good. Let's just be acquaintances. Because when you like a woman, I cover for you. I make you look good. I talk to her for you. I try to play matchmaker. I go do all this for you and all like that. But when you see a woman that likes your friend, you throw him under the bus and try to take his spot. A woman like that is she's a Jezebel. A Jezebel is another way, is a biblical term for bitch. Okay? That's a Jezebel. A Jezebel spirit is a biblical term for bitch. Okay? A lot of Jezebels out there today, especially in today's, love. Now, we have women today who, more than yesterday, like yesterday it was very hard. It was very hard in the 80s for a man to get laid. Unless he knew where the hoes were. Now today, any woman can turn into a hoe in seconds. Me and an older man that I know talk about this. I have an older friend that's older than me. He's about to retire. We talk about this a lot. He's always telling me about how he says, if you can't get no coochie today, something wrong with you. Because women are so fast today. There's a little truth to that. But with that truth there's another truth. The whole idea of men getting cooch easily is a cover. No, it's about women getting what they want. Okay? And that includes their desire to give away their cooch or their desire to only worry about them. And that's everything from, money and everything under that all the way down to how good she wants it in bed. But how good she wants it in bed is on the bottom. It's all these other things. And I see women today who come to work and they got like 7 guys doing things for them. One guy is going to loan you money so you can get an Uber. Another guy is going to go fix you something to eat. Another guy is going to keep you company. Another guy and another guy and another guy and another guy. Didn't you just say you have a boyfriend at home? You can't wait for 8 hours to go be with your boyfriend before you go use another man to take his place. And then you're going to get up in his face and act like he's number one. I know one of you broke up. And I'm 58 years old, and it's been a long time for me. Maybe I need to die without love. I don't know. Maybe I need to just let it fade. Maybe I just need to let the idea, in maybe another 10 more years, I probably won't be interested anyway. I'll probably lose my interest in settling down again with a woman in another 10 years. Because right now I'm looking at women, even in the church, and a lot of women are not the women of yesterday. And let me tell you something. And this goes all the way to the White House. If you think that yesterday is gone and that nobody needs to try to go back to that, you're about as idiotic as you are a Jezebel. You are about as idiotic as you are a who was the most sexually active male in the Bible that never got right with God. They don't give them, especially men, they don't give them special names. They just call that race of people or that religious group or whatever a name. But, you are just as idiotic as you are a sperm donator, a male whore, a slut maker. There you are. Jesse Peterson, slut maker. You are just as much an idiot as you are a slut maker. You are. Okay? You got sluts and you got slut makers. Better yet, you got Jezebels and you got slut makers. There are too many people today that don't know what love is all about. Love is not about you having, women going where men have always been and saying, you know what? If something happened to me, if I get hurt on the job, if I get beat up, or if I fall on my face and break something or end up losing a leg or arm or whatever, the last thing I expect to feel sorry for me as a woman. That's how bad it is today. There are men that would feel more sorry for me and come visit me at the hospital because men know how to be friends with men. That would visit me at the hospital, actually come and visit me. Men that would actually go to my funeral, and a lot of women that wouldn't. Even though they said that, they did more talking about me and even saying good things than the men did, but yet they think it is beneath them, or it looks bad for them for some reason, for them to really care about somebody other than their own libido. If I'm saying that right. Because women today only care, and part of that is the man's fault. Because the truth of the matter is, today men are having more sex, and they don't realize you're having sex with a species that is designed to be bought. You buy this species. You don't just use it. You buy it. That's kind of like, let me think of a good illustration. That's like buying a car that never gets bought. Okay? You just keep leasing it. And you lease it for a while and you give it back up and you lease another one. Or you rent it and you take it back and somebody else rents it. And you see the car a lot, but you don't own it. You rent it. And so the car and the people that are renting the car to you have an issue. And it's kind of like their fault if things happen and you don't pay the insurance or things happen. It's somebody's fault. Namely the ones that are renting it, because they keep renting it, and each time they rent it, it has already been rented, and there's going to be problems. There's going to be some repercussions for that. Okay? And it's the same way with women. Like, women are meant to be bought. End of the deal. Still the deal. Buy the woman, pay the sum, and take her home. And I'm not talking about like you would go buy a car. I'm talking about marriage. Now, for a lot of foreign men, whether you are from their country or not, you're going to pay a certain amount of money to the family for that bride. And then you're going to promise the family that you plan on taking care of her to the fullest extent. Like, you don't pay a man thousands of dollars to marry his daughter and then let her go out and work. What's she going to do? Go and pay you back for all the money you paid her father? No. You're going to make sure she never has to work. And it used to be this way years ago. And now women are acting up. They're finally acting up because of it. We spent years. Part of it is our fault, man. Because we don't strive for perfection like we used to. Like, part of it is our fault. Not all of it, but part of it is our fault. A big part of it. Because we lay down with a woman and we get all prideful about it. And we think we won America. We think we made the American dream. Because we lay down with a pretty girl, a pretty face, a pretty butt. And then the next thing you know, your car note is up. She got to catch the bus. Okay? You're saying, well, D-Roy, you must be talking about yourself, boy. Well, I'm not going to date a girl if I can't afford to drive her where she needs to go. It's another reason why I don't have anyone in my life. Because when I think about someone being in my life, I look at my bank account. It's costly to have a woman in your life. And especially since, like me, you're going to marry her. Because I'm going to marry her. She's going to be mine. And a lot of things she's not going to get from me until she's mine. I'm not going to wait on her hand and foot. You know, you got girlfriends, you know, you can tell who the Jezebels are. There are women that I've met that seem so sweet until they got a boyfriend. The stuff that they had this poor boy doing was ridiculous. Hold up. First of all, that's not your husband. And second of all, you don't make your husband pay for sex with you. Oh, if you don't drive all the way downtown Pittsburgh and if he doesn't drive all the way downtown Pittsburgh and bring you a mocha because you don't want to go get a girlfriend and walk to some place to get a mocha downtown on your lunch break or whatever. He got to drive all the way down there in crazy traffic to bring you a mocha every day. Every day. He's going to pay for it and bring it to you. Okay? Or he's going to be in the doghouse tonight because he said he don't feel like getting you a mocha. And I've seen a girl break up with a dude over that. I've seen girls go through, in this day and time, go through guys like going through hairstyles. They go through guys like going through a box of maxi pads. It's a shame. It's called fornication and God is not pleased. Me, being in touch with God keeps me from being the coochie croak. And a lot of women, they want to put me in, and you know, we have to be faithful to God, Christian men. Us Christian men that are not part of the hypocrisy. We have to be so faithful to God because, like tight with God. Because, like praying, fasting, on our knees before God. Because we're not treated. Women act like they don't see. They don't see the difference. They don't notice. A man is a dog no matter what. He's a dog because he's a man. And now it used to be where you had these guys that were writing these books, telling you that, different ways to get women to find you attractive. One of the ways to get women to find you attractive is to not care. Now today it's like those books don't work anymore. Like, if you don't care, she don't care. But this is the thing though. We're taught to act like we don't care because there's men out there who act like they care when they really don't care. And every now and then they will hit. It's like, trying to get a home run and you keep on getting, tagged out. Okay? Every now and then they'll get a home run and get the girl. But most of the time, they're only going to bunt the ball and they're not even going to make it to first base. And if they do make it to the second base, they're not going to make it to home. They're going to be striked out before they get to home. And that's the way a lot of men are. And most of us don't, especially if we're out there in that world and dealing with these worldly women, the women of the, the fornication lifestyle, the lifestyle, the red district lifestyle, the lifestyle of going out to bars and clubs and picking up women in skimpy dresses and all that stuff. If we're into that lifestyle, we don't want to be that person. We don't want to be that kind of person for them kind of women. We just constantly try to say, I got to have her. Some women are offended by that. They don't like that. You just got to have her. Why? And most of them think that you got to have them because you're looking at their rear end, which most of the time you are. But some of us, we're looking at women and we feel like we got to have them because we feel that we have something in common with them. We feel that, the guy wants to fall in love. The guy's tired of being single. What's wrong with him showing that he's a little bit thirsty? And what's wrong? You should be glad he picked you. He ain't got to pick you, lady. He can pick everybody around you and forget about you. But you think that everybody wants you. You think everybody is looking at you, got the same thing on their mind. And me, I guess the kind of women I look at is women who stay out of it. Okay? And so now you got people telling you, well, dude, you walking around here looking too serious. I don't see what I don't understand what that means. What does that mean? You walking around here looking too serious. But, if you walk around smiling all the time, people act like you weak. And they go, and me, I do this because I'm one of them kind of guys that is a judger, is an observer of character. Okay, I'm always putting everybody, without trying, I'm putting everybody on a scale. Okay, and it's never a scale about who looks the best. But it's a scale about how you treat others compared to how you want to be treated. How you do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And you know what? Nobody passes one. Everybody gets a lot of people get a point, but nobody gets 2 points. I give myself a 9. 1 to 10, I take a 9. I'll take the 9. But I don't reach out to people who are like, oh, you ain't coming over here trying to get something. You're not coming over here talking about things with us that you shouldn't be talking about. What I look like talking about sexual innuendo to a woman I'm not going to sleep with? What I look like talking about sexual stuff with women that, if it go that far, as a Christian, I'm supposed to say no. And how many times have I, as well as other men that are Christians, was accused of leading a woman on when she ought to known, because we both go to the same church, that we don't practice fornication. If we had a good time tonight, that means that we can say good night. And I can go to my place, and I can walk you to your front door, drop you off, and get out of the car, hold the door for you, walk you to your front door. And then go home and sleep in my own bed on my lonesome, because I'm a born again Christian. It's lonely sometimes being a born again Christian, but I will take the loneliness. I'll take the L for the cross of Christ, because I don't want to fornicate into loneliness. Okay? I've done that. Where has fornication ever got me? Right to where I am right now. The only difference is I've repented of my sins. Therefore, God understands that, my life is in His hands. He's going to let me know when to go out of my way to shine over here, and over here keep my mouth shut. Over here don't get involved. But go ahead and shine over here, because they need you to minister over there. Or there's a blessing for you over there as well as a blessing for them. But over here, these people have no clue that they work for the devil. And they will hurt you. They will use you up like using up a sponge. They will use you up like using up a wet paper towel. To use you up and throw you out. Because they don't care. They only care about their own beauty, their own sexual desires, their own everything. And some of the sweetest people you ever meet. And people come to work. And this is one of the things I hate about women. Women were not created to be alpha males who don't care. I agree with the therapist that said, act like you don't care. Don't show them that you care. Care when you need to care, but don't show them that you care. Don't show them your loneliness. Don't show them your thirstiness. Always act like you are self-sufficient in yourself. But when you act like you're self-sufficient today, after yesterday, we see you getting all touchy and feely with an a-hole, with a scoundrel, with a slut maker. You walking out that door acting like you don't care. Like you can be a man about it when you're a woman. You can be a man about it and just walk out and don't care. Act like everybody there is beneath you. I'm not impressed with that. Because I really do believe that most of us go home and we cry. Most of us, we go home and we're lonely. And women, of all people, can go out there and have sex. Lots of sex. They can get a man to put them to sleep. They can get a man to do them so good in the bedroom that they don't want to have sex for the next 2 weeks to 2 years. It was so good that one night. At least that's the stuff that they say. Okay? But yet, they can say that and then get up the next day and act like no man has ever shown them a good time. And how does a man do that? And he's not the man. So let me get this straight. The man that gave you the best sex you ever had. The man that gave you the best orgasm you ever had. The man that spent the most time in one day or 1 or 2 nights sleeping with you. You ain't put clothes on for 2 days. You ain't took a shower in 2 days because y'all was getting it on. How do you let a guy like that get away from you? Oh, I know how you let a guy like that get away from you. It's all over my Bible. But in your belief system, as a Democrat, in your belief system as a non-Christian, an atheist, an abortionist, a fornicator, how do you let a guy get away from you who did all that? And you got husbands that can do all that. And you got husbands that don't even have sex with their wives but once a week or less. And they have the most glorious marriages. I'm lost. How's that possible? I guess the same way a woman is a Christian. Because a woman is going to have less boyfriends and less fornication and less men in her life when she becomes a born-again Christian. And a man is going to have less women in his life and less sex in his life when he becomes a born-again Christian. So I guess I answered my own question. But how? How do you... I need the Lord to tell me how that happens. People have told me, don't be intimidated by the men that a woman has the hots for. But you might be the one that can stop the tracks, stop all the planes. Now she can get off and be happy ever after. It's not about what the other guys did. But it's about who you are, D-Roy, and what you will do because of love, because of God in her life. It's not about the other man. Okay. I understand because I can see myself. If I fell with the best sex I've ever had, if I fell with the prettiest body, the prettiest face I've ever laid down with, if I fell, if I let that one get away or that one was never mine or I was never hers, it was just business. It was just pleasure. Okay, that's where my Bible comes in. But it's still confusing. All right. I can see myself saying, okay. I want to love this woman here. And it's usually not because of something that has already been done between the two of you anyway. This is why we don't practice fornication. Because even though you may feel like, well, I really didn't love the guy, I really didn't love the girl, but man, I'll never forget her, I'll never forget him. And a lot of y'all married and y'all ain't forgot. And I'm glad you don't see that person every day. Or you be thinking about him or her while you sleeping with your spouse. You know. And here we are getting ready to go into another election. And this is all tied in with that, but I'll save that for another video. 50 minutes, 51 minutes, 52 minutes, whatever this is good enough. All I'm saying is, do you see yourself in the world? Do you see how idiotic and dirty and filthy and stupid you are? Before we get to worrying about Christians judging you, or you judging Christianity, or you coming after my hypocrisy versus your own hypocrisy. Before you try to sweep around my front door, you ain't swept around yours. I work very, very, very hard with my sacrifice to Christ, to follow Christ. I'm beyond repentance. That's what I did yesterday that brought me to today, where I try to make the sacrifice and promise myself for the fourth time again to walk upright before my God and to serve my God with gladness and joy and sacrifice. My body, Romans chapter 12. My body is a living sacrifice. I pray in the name of Jesus is holy and acceptable unto God, my reasonable service. King Solomon, after having how many wives? How many concubines? He said, do not give your strength to women. I can close my Bible now. Not for me, because I haven't. I gave my strength to the woman that I was married to for 10 years. Well, I gave it to her for 8 years. The last 2 or 3 years of our marriage, I was done giving her my strength. I'm running this house, but it was too late. Bible says, do not give your strength to women. That's another one of them things that, yes, well, let's get real. You're being male dominant. Yes, you are. The Bible is male dominant. Hate to tell you. And I'm not saying that because I'm glad about that as a man. I'm saying that that's just the way it is. I would wish it wasn't, but it is. And I can understand why, but that doesn't mean I want it to be like that. It just is that way. Just like I don't want to judge anybody for being a fornicator or being gay or lesbian or trans or anything. That's just the way it is. But it doesn't begin with trans people or gay people. It begins with men and women that ain't even thinking about being gay. It begins with y'all every day. You've been dipping in the cookie jar, but you want to come in front of the people that don't know you, and a lot of people that do know you, and put on this front. That's called a sinner. That's called someone that needs to repent. You want to put on this front as if you ain't laid on your back. How many times this week with somebody you ain't married to? And it wasn't the same dude. And then you got a boyfriend that you have no intention on marrying. You knew that if he proposed to you, you have to say no. And you knew that if you say yes, this marriage is temporary. You knew that before y'all started having problems. Because why? Only God. It takes the blessing from God to be a keeper. You know how men say she's a keeper. If you are a keeper, in a way that both Christian and secular men, see, the way it should be is secular men should envy Christian men and the women that they get. It used to be like that back in the 80s. Oh, I want a Christian woman. Why can't you get a woman like yourself? Oh, because Christian women, okay, hold up, dude. Why would she date your heathen behind? She's a born-again Christian. Obviously, she's looking for a Christian man. That's why she's a Christian. It's not like that no more. And I see this every day. As long as he treats her good, it's accounted under him as righteousness. That ain't what the Bible says. It says Abraham believed God. Abraham was the man who had a submissive wife, Sarah. And it said Abraham believed God and it was accounted unto him as righteous. It didn't say a man believed a woman and a woman was running the show. No, Abraham had a submissive wife. Abraham had a submissive wife. Abraham believed not her, but God. And it was accounted unto him as righteousness. But you got women today who got props. A man is a prop. He's no better than her dog. She makes love to the dog more than she makes love to him. She gives the dog love in affection. She loves her Doberman or her Husky, put his ball sack and his little pecker in her face more than she allows her husband to do it. She puts her little Chihuahua or her little Cane Corso or whatever in a blanket with a smelly behind and gets under the covers with him while her husband is downstairs sleeping on the couch. Or he comes home and he gotta like pull the dog out of the bed every night in order to lay next to his wife. He got to lay next to his wife and try to have sex with his wife that smells like the dog. This has nothing to do with the little innocent dog as much as it has to do with how far men and women have fallen away from God. And we have fallen away from God whether we're Christians or atheists or religious or Democrats or Republicans or whatever the heck we are. We have all fallen short of God more than yesterday. All of us. And for that I might die alone. Who am I going to marry with my little short behind? Women don't date short men anymore. You go after what everybody is doing. You go after what's popular on YouTube. Short men ain't popular on YouTube. You go out with what's popular. You know. You don't care about the fact that God made all men with penises. And God made all men in need of love. All you care about is the fact that, oh, well, you know, if I date the short dude, all the men are going to be hitting on me and he's going to be jealous and he's going to be acting a fool. And he's just going to embarrass me and make it hard for me and make it hard for those men that are hitting on me. And I'm not going to go through that. You are about as much a Jezebel as you are a slut. Okay? If that's the way you feel, I don't need you. If that's the way you feel. God bless you. I am DeRoy Cruz, your Life Applications Officer. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll make a video about it in Jesus' name. God bless you. See you soon with more.